but that's how we roll. Good evening.
There's not always a delay. That's usually an indicator that we have some kind of an issue. I'm going to shut down and reboot.
Are
We
you
have something
sure?
going on.
I think we're fine now. I actually now it feels normal.
Is it normal?
I mean, is it?
Let's just roll with it. I can always put an audio note on it. We're not doing this for sponsors. Are you already recording?
I am. That's why it was really good.
Steven.
Hey, we're supposed to keep it real. Just say we're supposed to keep it real. Once I got my headphones working, I felt like we were good. So, hi. Day
Hi.
16. Gotta struggle. Day 16.
When we get to 21, it's actually a habit, I believe. I think 3 weeks is supposed to be a habit.
Well, we are working
Right
on
now, I can only assume that day 16 is like a gaggle of crows. It's a murder.
All right. Well, I do think that I'm happy to start if you need me to. I think I started last night though. So do you want to kick us off? Or not?
It was a day. It was fine. I got a lot of house stuff done, which along the lines of your organizing, like it felt good.
Mm.
I don't know that it qualifies as self-growth. I did a good bit of research on some of the supplements that I take, and the smoothies and everything that I continue to work on that I really like. Like I love green juices in the morning. Like I know you're a big orange juice fan, like big orange juice fan in the morning. I really like a green juice. I like something with just a little bit, like not crazy sugar, a good mix of like kale and cucumber and lots of green stuff mixed with a little bit of like apple and ginger that balances the whole thing out. And so I was working a little bit on that today. So I consider that self-growth. And I did do my meditation. So I do not necessarily feel I hit my 45, but I also, I don't know, I had a weird day. I had a lot of volunteer stuff that pulled me out. I got a good bit of work stuff done alongside that. I have a big conference on Saturday.
Yeah.
And I needed to prep for that and have a late night call tonight that we just got off the call with for a fraternity meeting that is Saturday. And I got berated by another volunteer group. It's always nice to be berated for something that you volunteer to do when people don't really know how to talk to people. And it's very unfortunate that things that you say could be taken out of context. And even if they're not taken out of context, maybe it is something that that person feels that this even goes towards work, but from a volunteer self-growth perspective, it's the kind of thing where it's interesting to see the way people react to comments that they receive from outside sources about something you said that was really non-obtrusive, like not abrasive, but the way they take it and the way they respond to it. And I got hung up on by this person, like legit hung up on. So that was fun. And I'm actually processing that. And I think from a self-growth perspective, I have to let myself not dive into that. And it's difficult because right now I just want to be like, you know what, go fuck yourself. Everybody involved in this entire process, go fuck yourself. Because I don't do this for me. I do this for other people. And if you think that there's a benefit to me, you know, I've got words for you. So I think that there are people who just need to think about the way they talk to people. And I think, yeah, without diving more into who it was or divulging anything more, but I made a comment on social media on a group that I thought was private that got back to people that clearly I will no longer ever comment on.
Is that your final answer?
That's my final answer. That's my final answer.
So it is a judgment-free zone because I absolutely will not judge in any way how you choose to spend your 45 minutes and that time for yourself. But what I'm hearing, I will say, sounds like a lot of energy went into some people that maybe
didn't deserve it.
Maybe didn't deserve it. So
they didn't deserve it.
No judgment. I'm just saying,
Oh, I'm judging myself.
Yeah, well, again, judgment is not the goal here, but yeah, I think you could have used a little bit more step away time, selfish time today. I think that might have helped. I think that maybe, personally. But again, not judgment. I know days happen. So I mean I can go into my day. I mean, one thing I think that is maybe an interesting topping onto the 45-minute challenge and what's going on is I think that assessing how you spent your day or the time you may have put to own personal purposes, but also just how did the day work out? Or how do you feel about the day? How do you feel about what you did today? How do you feel about what the day was? So from not, because I think it's important from what you just described to, because I think it's, really important, especially if you didn't get your time, but you also feel like, was my day really an awesome day or not? For myself, I did have a day that I needed to go out, meet with a few people. It was a little bit more interactive, especially in COVID times. It felt like a very socially engaging day. So yeah, there was a lot of pulls away and a lot of things that didn't allow me to necessarily sit down and read a book like I would have wanted to, or contribute to some of the other things we talked about. But I do give credit to, because I do think it's whether it's part of the challenge or not, but I do think we've called this out too. The ideas of like speaking to people, getting perspectives, having opportunities, especially when it's like opportunistic, if you will. But hey, I haven't had a chance to talk to this person for a while, or hey, this is a really great situation. This person has so I had those opportunities today. I'm very proud of a lot of conversations I was able to have today. I also did also managed to sneak in about a 15 to 18-minute meditation that I got in this evening that I thought was really needed. Again, it was definitely one of those. I think I had this yesterday, even though I might not have described it, but it's like a point where I felt my mind, and I was like, what do I do, or what I want to do, or what I want to focus on, and I chose to take that moment of indecision to just stop and say, screw it. If I don't know, maybe I need to go back and meditate on it and reflect on it a little bit. So I did manage to do that a little bit today.
It's
Um,
awesome.
so, I mean, honestly, though, I mean, I can tell you, I cannot say that I can spell out the 45 minutes today. Just like yesterday, and there's been a few days where there's been challenges for me to say, did I actually truly carve out that right amount of time? And I go back to everything from what we said from the beginning to things we're saying right now. It's like it's not a requirement that you do, but I do think it's very important that we both can look and reflect back on our day and say that we
Tried.
that we feel well tried, but also that we put the right energy into the right effort in that day. And I think
Sure.
that's a challenge back to both of us. Like, even if it was a struggling day, was that energy being spent to something that we truly think is worth the struggle? And if it's not, it's just the evaluation, because I think that it's so easy to get trapped in a loop of doing things day over day over day over day, not even realizing that you're miserable doing those things. And I think there may be a warning sign is if we can't find our time to get our 45 minutes, maybe we need to think about what it is, because if it's miserable, what I'm saying. I'm not saying this. I'm not reflecting anything, but it's like I do think that we have to evaluate that, because I've been guilty of it so many times,
Sure.
and I also say that, yeah, life is not always supposed to be a bed of roses, and you will go through periods of time. It's more of the sustained um, energy being put into a vortex. That's just what we have to watch out for.
Yeah. I didn't expect to end up here at the end of the day. I actually feel better after the fraternity call because I got a chance to connect with like-minded individuals who volunteer their time on a crazy, crazy level, like I do towards this. So again, it almost reiterated the fact that I'm berated by somebody for a single comment on Facebook that it just,
Again, I'm just gonna throw in my own
I
little
know,
sprinkle of what it
I
is.
know,
It's like that is it's a voice in the wind. Does
I
it
know.
actually?
It's
Does it?
just, it's one of those things that I give a passion to.
Sure,
And
sure. No,
and
no.
I'll say, I think the hard thing with something like that is when you're dealing with someone who doesn't understand that essentially you, you, the berater, is berating a volunteer um, who has not been trained and who doesn't want to bring anybody else into the fold because what you have proposed doing, you haven't done. And
But again, you know, we're all in our different points of perspective.
I
You
know.
know, I would like to think that maybe the berating, as you termed it, wasn't intended as that.
Oh, it was intended.
Well,
Oh, it was
okay.
intended.
I'm being
She
generous.
hung up
I'm
on
being
me.
too generous.
She literally hung up on me.
Okay, that might be it. But and again, though, I mean, even with that, though, it's like there's a lot of very heavily, strongly opinionated individuals in the world right now that they're going to say what they're going to say, and at the end
Well,
of the day, it's like I get it, but
look,
it's not
I
true.
know,
I don't absorb thoughts like that.
I know her job is tough. I said this in an email that went completely unresponded to, that her job is tough. The job of this particular office is crucial, and it is thankless, and it's tough and it's brutal. But the problem is that she's paid for it. So if you're a volunteer who is doing essentially a portion of what this particular position entails,
I agree. I agree,
mean,
but volunteer versus employee at the end of the day is like if we talk about some of the principles what we talk about, it's a fine line. You
it
know,
is a fine line.
when you commit yourself to a purpose,
But the
when
problem
you
is what you're not going to do is you're not going to get more volunteers who are going to want to do it and put their
no,
heart into it if
that's
what you're
leadership.
doing is berating the people who
No,
feel like they're not supported by that particular organization.
Right, and that's where leadership comes into play of like of fostering better generations.
They don't lead.
Well,
They push.
I'm not saying they lead. I'm saying you might lead sometimes. Just kind of.
Well, what I need to do is put this organization together through this other organization and leave is what I need to do. So, because I can't be the person. I can't spend hours doing something that is volunteer based. That no, this gets into a weird dynamic.
And not necessarily a dynamic that we need to maybe explore fully here, but I do think it's, if anything, going back to the promise, which why we're here, that is something to evaluate. I think that you and I have had a lot of discussions about volunteering time, and there's been times where I think that not that we've been at odds, but I know I have my feelings on it, and I will fully disclose in this forum, if that's what it is that I absolutely love giving back, but I need to know that when I give back, the group that I'm participating with is functional, is productive, is actually moving the needle. That's why a selfish thing. It is there, but when I'm with the group that is running in circles and not making progress and not actually doing anything for the cause, it's very hard for me to put my energy.
Well, this in particular, this group in particular made a lot of promises in 2020 that they have completely just thrown out. Like, had Zoom meetings, they set the stage for things. They put a process in place to do what I would like to see from this particular organization. I will say, in case anybody's watching who is with Delta Sig, the fraternity, I am not speaking about them. I volunteer with 4 different organizations, and it is not Delta Sig. Nobody, I actually don't think that anybody from Delta Sig would berate me. I may get judged.
We've been
get judged a lot.
We have. I mean,
but I have never. I can't even think of the last time I was actually hung up on, and it was so unprofessional in the context, and given the comment that was made, it was taken so personally that I have to question. I'm like, you're asking a lot of us and the position that I hold in this to be something that you're supposed to be, and we're volunteers. So I don't, again, it kind of goes into this weird loop of, I just want to be like, you know what? I'm done.
I think,
but there's such a benefit to it that I just have to taper it. And I realized that today, and I spent some meditation time after that call because I was hot. And her response when she apparently got called out because of whoever she received the screenshot from Facebook on, she decided to attack me, and which that may just be the way she does things, but I stepped myself down, and I took a breath, because if I quit, I hurt other people. And there, what I need to do is I need to build an organization along with me that will help where I can work myself out of it. It's probably the best way to say it without calling out any names.
Well, it sounds like some reflection time is still needed.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. I mean, I'm not used to being hung up on. Yeah, I mean, people vent to me a lot. This went beyond venting. This went to, and that's why I use the word berating, because yeah.
I want to condense this, but I definitely feel like there is a degree of all of this that I want you to take in, or I would advise, is being hung up on, being disrespected, all of these things that people can quote unquote do to you only have true weight if you accept
Give it to them.
If you accept it. And it's like, because I mean,
Sure. I know that.
There's a degree of which, of course, people can say a lot of things, and of course, there's the theater of life that we all explore those, and the drama that we all share together. But realistically, it's like if what was it, the parallel of if one person thinks you're an asshole, well, okay, that's one person. But if everybody thinks you're an asshole, then you might need to revalue. You might need to think about it. It's like
right.
It's a careful evaluation of the one-offs versus the systemic type of complaints, issues, or problems. So just I know you, like me, we both we internalize, we really look at everything that comes in, and we do give it due course of consideration of what is that. But I think as we get older, getting better at separating out the complete white noise of and BS is important, because sometimes, hey, opinions are like assholes, and sometimes that really is true, and sometimes opinions are also, well, maybe something we have to listen to. And I mean, it's you. There's no blanket statement for saying when you listen to and when you deflect. But I think there's at least parts of this that sound to me like you probably need to, like, okay, cool. Maybe there's a degree of this that doesn't require a whole level of super deep evaluation, but more of.
Yeah, you're not wrong. I kind of want to wrap this on this. You're welcome to make another comment after this, but I know we've gone a little long.
Yeah.
The main thing is that I think it's interesting. There is the part of that the words only mean something behind the context that I give them weight to, right? Like there's no question. People know that it's not about what is said. It's I can't control what she said. I can control how I react to it.
Yeah.
But here's the problem.
Mm-hmm.
There is a bigger piece of this that I see as a systemic issue in the city of where we live, that you're not going to get people to do what I do because of there's
yeah. Yeah.
there's just, the problem is that you don't have a system for, so here's the issue. You're berating me for saying something that, to be completely honest, is true, and which I apologized for. Now, I apologized for saying it on social media. I should not have done that. I am not a big instigator on social media. I saw my comment. It seemed very obtuse. People took it however they wanted to take it. And I apologized for that. I apologized for putting something out in a public environment on a private group that I thought was private and was not. And I learned my lesson.
And nothing's private in
Is that, does that change the fact that I feel or don't feel that way? No, it doesn't. Because the problem is that you are not going to get someone to do certain things in a volunteer environment without training and a benefit to those volunteers. And if your response to that is to call and berate them, guess what? If I didn't love this community more, I'd be out. I'd be out. And there'd be absolutely no benefit. And the chips would fall where they fall. So it is absolutely within my purview to control my response to that, which was, my response to that was to apologize and then to be hung up on, with literally no single word being allowed. Because when I tried to say a single word, I was told that she made the phone call and she would be the one speaking. I don't know people who talk to other people that way. So again, we don't have to get into this, but I am saying that I think that there is a justified reason for me to have to spend additional time meditating through this.
Yeah.
Because I'm fine. I have to get myself to the point of wanting to do it after that. Because if you're doing something in a volunteer environment and you are berated for doing something, it's especially from somebody who, let's just say, is essentially the overseer of it. It gets difficult.
But yes, and I think we should close with this. Maybe if I have just a slight comment back, but I think the only comment back really is anything that you as an individual or decide to invest in, the choices we make and how long and where we play into it is heavily weighted in our evaluation of what that energy is and what that effort is. So there is always a breaking point, whether it's your job, whether it's your volunteering. The line is really not that different. It really is in some senses. There are points where I'm volunteering and I reach a breaking point and it doesn't feel like it's making, I don't feel like I'm making enough positive impact to counteract whatever negative might be going on. So that's all. At the end of the day, as I always say, that's fine. That's normal. It's what we're all going through. And I think, yes, take some extra meditation on that. Because I mean, I think,
I do need to.
It's a passion thing. So
it's a passion.
No judgment. I think day 16.
It's in the books.
Yeah, it's in the books.
Day 16.
All right, let's watch some Doctor Who. Or
sounds
something
good.
Silly. Or Two Broke Girls. Anything silly.
Doctor Who sounds good.
All right.